Long time no see. How are we today, Hellbenders? Let us know. You can see us and hear us in the chat, and then we are going to get rolling with the show in a minute. Minute. 5x5. Thank you very much, Okie. Welcome back to Hellbent Holler Live. We have been out of the loop for about 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm. Seems like longer.
We are so ready to be back. We are chomping at the bit, as they say, to come back and join you fine folks right here on the old interwebs and get back to doing the show, get back to hanging out.
Yeah, man. I did like a quick solo show one night, which was like a train wreck. I don't know if you've watched it. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but anyway, I did that. But it seems like a real long time since we've done this together here.
So I have been held up in my office in the editing cave, working diligently on a super secret squirrel project, and it has been such a intense project that Joe and I have worked on for months at this point. A lot of traveling involved, an insane amount of work behind the scenes, but I do have an official announcement about that. We like official announcements around here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, on August 10th, premiering on Small Town Monsters channel will be my first full-length documentary. It's titled The Monster on Morris Mountain, Bigfoot in the Uwaris.
Yeah. So we were obviously doing a lot of stuff in the Uwaris. I think this is going to be the first Small Town Monsters doc that has had a female director, editor.
Soup to nuts, as they say.
Soup to nuts.
Soup to nuts, as they say.
So this will be pretty cool. This will be, like I said, it's you know that we have done quite a bit with Small Town Monsters in the past. We're friends with a lot of them. There's been some discussion on, obviously, we're going to stay Hellbent Holler. We're still doing our own thing, but we like to collaborate with them every so often. You know what I'm saying? When we get a chance to go out with Alex, we always like to. Aaron is like a really good friend of ours. Anything that we can ever do to help him and vice versa, we're always quick to do. We have a huge amount of respect for Seth and Heather and all the rest of them. So this was just a good way to kind of blend the two projects together.
Yeah.
So we did a full-length documentary, and it's a full-length documentary. It's an hour and
it's an hour and 42 minutes.
Guzow.
And so you guys know, if you've been watching the show, if you've been keeping up with all of us and our craziness, we have been going to the Uwaris a lot over the past few months, a lot. And that was us going up there and investigating and filming for this documentary.
And we can talk about it now. A few people have known about it. Actually, there are some people who are
in it
that are channel members. MK, who's in here, was very crucial to doing it. That's his area of operations. So he was.
And also Michelle. Michelle is in it as well.
Is a channel member, and she's in it as well. That's actually how we met her.
Yeah.
We were actually setting up to do an investigation, and a Jeep drove by, and the window rolled down, and the people inside went, Jesse, Joe, and it was people that recognized us from this, who had experiences in the Uwaris.
In that exact spot where we were.
So we set up the cameras and did a quick interview with them.
Yep.
So I don't know if Michelle is on the show tonight, if she's in the chat, but a couple quick things here. LW Marshall, thank you so much, my buddy. Thank you so much. And then Curtis Whitaker.
Curtis, don't hurt us.
Curtis. We appreciate it, my man. So we chose the Uwaris. It's kind of a funny story, actually. We talked to them about doing a documentary and trying to do something that was a little fresh, you know what I'm saying? And the Uwari National Forest up in North Carolina, finding Bigfoot, did an episode up there. Mike Green caught his famous squeaky thermal, where he got what appears to be a Bigfoot on thermal camera coming up and taking a Zagnut bar from the stump that he used to like lead bait
And
on.
that was the source of our crazy Zagnut hunt that we had a few months ago.
Our friend Julie Wrench is nearby there, and she's
Uh-huh.
had some crazy activity and audio off of her property. But it just seems like it had kind of fallen out of the national discussion. So, and we thought it'd be really easy, which it was not in the slightest. We ran into so many freaking problems trying to do this. Weather was terrible. The weather completely wrecked our plans, and it pushed us back into warmer weather.
Yeah.
When then we had to contend with the snake population, which is like through the freaking roof. If you guys remember that rattlesnake video that Jesse had,
Yeah.
where we ran into that huge rattler at night, that's from the Uwharrie area.
That was last June, I believe it was.
It ain't gotten no better. So
it is no better. It's actually much worse. And it was some of the worst tick infestations that we had ever seen. And we've been to the LBL multiple times, especially during the summer. There is a piece of footage from our first series in the LBL where I'm talking to the camera, and I didn't put it in the final series, but I'm talking to the camera, and you just have this tick that is giant, just walking across my chest, just walking across me the entire time. LBL is notorious for ticks. That's where we had our insane seed tick situation. Uwharrie is about the same.
But
ticks.
Snakes are freaking
Snakes are
bananas.
insane.
So anyway, we set up there. We were going, listen, this will be easy to do. Let's be a little, cautious with our first full-length doc associated with somebody else, because the way we do this is we do field investigations. We go out there and we videotape what happens. We record what happened. Videotape, like we're out there with like old camcorders. We record what happens.
We're gonna do a talkie about the Bigfoot.
So we run out there and we record what we experience. And if we don't experience anything, then we just move on to the next spot. We don't release something, But with this, we had to come up with something, and we started hitting weather problems. One of the things that you won't see too much in the doc, we were not going to give any spoilers for it, but if you've ever read Mike Green's book on Bigfoot,
Sasquatch for Sale,
really good book. When he gets to the part talking about his own personal investigations in the Uwharries, he talks about how in the area where he caught the squeaky thermal that he had repeated strange equipment malfunctions. We ran into the same thing. Boy, did we ever at this point. And is MK even in the chat?
MK's in there. Of course he is.
He can chime in for
Is he going to miss this?
We had a idea that we were going to try to do some really tech-heavy experiments in that area where Mike Green caught his squeaky thermal footage at. We were going to try to recreate it, but take it up to the next level. And we couldn't. We just flat out couldn't, because the equipment won't work there. It won't work there. MK got to see me have like basically a nervous breakdown because I had all of this stuff planned out.
Wait, which one?
Yeah, the first one. And all of this stuff planned out. We were going to run multiple thermal imagers, night vision cameras, infrasound detectors, multiple audio recorders, all this stuff. And I couldn't get any of it to work. Stuff started malfunctioning. Anything that had a connection to it, either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, none of that would work. When I did get something working, the battery would drain like that. So I'm running around with like electric tape and giant battery banks, backup battery banks, taping like battery banks to tripods, running stuff on external power. And it was crazy. And you could tell MK was just kind of looking at us like.
Now, there was this really beautiful moment that I did capture on camera. It's not included in the doc, but I do have this footage where MK goes into this very, very long diatribe where he's telling us about an episode of Star Trek where it's a Chinese finger trap situation with the ship and resisting all of these problems, and it gets worse and worse and worse. But then you release and you kind of let's go. I've never seen an episode of Star Trek, so I don't know exactly what the hell it was. But he's telling us all of this, and this is Joe's face the entire time. And he just goes on about this Chinese finger trap situation.
Ready to just explode. But MK, I think at one point was looking at us going, A, do these people know what the hell they're doing? Is this is this incompetence I'm seeing? Or is this something like paranormal?
Yeah.
Or are we faking this in front of him just to kind of get him? So we're standing there, and there's just this moment where I'm like stressed. The three of us are standing there, and you can tell MK is just kind of like going, what the hell's going on right now? And then all of a sudden, we have two flashlights going. Both flashlights start to malfunction simultaneously, start to cut out, start to cut back on. Flashlights now, mind you, okay, that we had just started using at the exact same time. And I think at that moment, he realized, holy crap, this is all real, and this is all happening in front of my eyes. And so, yeah, it was extremely difficult to do.
You better start believing in Bigfoot YouTube channels, son, because you're on one.
Okay, thank you so much for that, my friend. We appreciate it. Chris Jackson, Mondays are back to normal. Thank you, buddy. And
well, let's not get ahead of ourselves and call
Miranda Crew. Congratulations, Jesse. Glad you guys are back. P.S. Nice haircut. Joe, everything got shaved off because it's hot. And I've been doing these like solo excursions and dying of heat exhaustion. So everything got shaved off. So everything.
You got to really think you're okay.
So what ended up happening with the Uwari doc is that, you know, a lot of times people will do these like paranormal docs and they're shot over a brief amount of time. And then you just cut the footage to make it look like whatever.
And you know what we were like? We're like, you know what? No. Go so quickly and get it done in an efficient manner and all that.
No, let's stretch this out over 2 months, for God's sake.
No, not us.
But here's the deal, though, is that we would go up there. We had to really just on the fly scrap a lot of our original ideas and go to sometimes secondary and tertiary ideas, just come up with backup plans to the backup plan.
And those tertiary ideas are never the best.
So we were constantly fighting equipment.
I'm waiting for the tertiary joke in the chat.
So with the when it came time to review the footage, it was a freaking mess. We had so much of it. It was unorganized. It wasn't shot on the original cameras that we planned on shooting it with because of equipment issues. So literally, that's why Jessie disappeared for a while, because Jessie literally had to sit there. And I still can't believe that she got it all cobbled together.
We didn't all get out of this without scars, mental or physical.
It was a very rough investigation.
Yeah.
And it stretched out longer than we anticipated. But we caught some really cool stuff.
So I'm excited for everybody to see that. They're going to be premiering it on the Small Town Monsters YouTube channel and other streaming platforms on August the 10th. Of course, we will be doing a show with Aaron, a live show. I don't know, before or after the premiere, whichever one. So you'll see us over there. We'll remind you every week that it's coming out because we're really excited for this to come out. And like Joe said before, I directed it. I did soup to nuts on it, edited and everything on it. Joe was the cinematographer. MK was our field producer. And that's our crew. That's it. So that is basically it for the entire documentary. It was me, Joe, and MK was invaluable to the whole process. Yeah. So, but that's it. It was just us doing this, and we really, really put it in there.
This will be good. This will be a high-profile thing to kind of showcase what we do, and then Jesse's ability to kind of take a bunch of investigations and compile them down into something that's like digestible, where you can kind of see it and watch it and kind of walk away. And I'm going to tell you this right now. My concern going into this was the same thing that I've always been concerned about with the Uwaris. We went up there previously. Not a lot happened when we were there personally. Really didn't experience that much. The witness encounters of the people that we spoke to were very, very compelling, though. And we went up and we caught some pretty crazy stuff. We caught some really crazy stuff. And it's Lady Wolf had asked, we're going to do a blooper reel. We've got so much footage.
Oh, yes, friend.
So much footage that just didn't make it into the doc.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally could have probably released 10 hours worth of, you could have released 10 1-hour documentaries from the past couple
So my plan is when the doc comes out with STM, some of the bonus stuff is going to come out on our side of things. So we'll start sharing some of the stuff that we have that didn't make it to the doc after the main project comes out. So you're going to get plenty of bonus Uwari stuff coming out, following up on that. But yeah, I'm super excited about it. There's a ton of stuff that didn't make it in, and I've seen the documentary because I edited it, but I've seen the complete project about 20 times now at this point. And I will tell you right now, it's all killer, no filler. There's no fat left on it. So it's tight, it's right, it looks good. I'm excited. I'm very proud for what I made and what I crafted together for you guys to see. I'm so excited to hear what you guys think. And I'm excited to kind of do a definitive, balls to the wall investigation in the URI and do it the right way and present it to you guys in a exciting, entertaining, an informative way.
A couple quick things here. Roberta Newman just upgraded to Legionnaire. Thank you so much.
Roberta.
Thank you to all of the members that stayed with us through this. I know that content has not really been a lot coming out publicly. A lot of you guys still stuck with us knowing that there was some light at the end of the tunnel. We greatly appreciate it. And on that subject, Better with the Irish said, I can't figure out how to upgrade my membership. Damn Apple products. If you can, do not sign up for memberships or do super chats with Apple products. We don't see any of that. So if you're wanting to kind of help like fund the hunt and fund the project, we don't see anything with Apple products, because what happens is YouTube takes a giant cut and Apple takes what's left.
Yeah.
So we don't literally see anything. So if you have an Apple phone, but you have access to a PC, we'd appreciate it if you could do that, but I'm just saying, if you're doing it to fund like the investigations, do realize that with Apple products, Apple pretty much takes everything that YouTube doesn't. And that might be why you're having trouble doing this right now.
Yeah.
Apple is very, very restrictive as far as stuff like this
goes.
There's an Apple tax is what they call it.
The Apple tax.
The Apple tax. But
and kind of going off of that, there's another interesting little announcement I have to make. And I know everybody wants to hear about these Dogman Hotspots. We haven't been here in a while. We need to update you guys on something. Recently, we have been made aware of a few of these compilation channels taking our videos and putting them in their compilations. They never ask us. There's a big problem with that, because these are monetized channels that take our hard work, that we go out there, our blood, our sweat, our tears, our images, everything, and they put it on their channel, and then they monetize it and they profit off of that. So we're not allowing that at all. So we're going to have a zero tolerance policy for that. So I have a new little idea and an initiative. As soon as we find these channels that are doing this, we actually make copyright claims against them. And guess what? We usually come out on top.
We don't usually come out on top.
We're pretty good. We always come out on top on that, because it is our image, our work, everything, and it has been basically stolen and put on other people's channel. So I've got a new initiative for you, the Hellbender out there. If you find a channel that's a compilation channel or any other kind of channel that is using any of our footage, and you email us and you send us a link to us and tell us about that, you get a free t-shirt. If you're the first person to let us know about that channel using our content on their channel, guess what? You get a link for a free
Now, there was
t-shirt.
one channel that we gave permission to.
There was one that we gave permission to, and we'll figure that out.
We got to figure that out. So we'll announce this when it goes live, but just kind of help us do this. I mean, I had a crazy email exchange with what I think is like a 16-year-old kid who just does one of these compilation channels, and it's all AI voice, and he just takes and I'm just going to tell you how we handle it. We just hit them with copyright strikes. There's no warning for it. I don't have time to mess around with it. I try to handle that because Jesse's got her hands full. Yeah. And I tried to explain to him when he contacted me going, why are you doing this? I'm going, we're out here going through a pretty sizable amount of expense and putting ourselves into a pretty sizable amount of danger to do this just for you to come take it without asking. Well, can I use it? No, you can't. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about, and I've had people offer to pay us to take copyright strikes down. That's not the point. We're obviously, if we wanted to get rich, we wouldn't be doing a cryptid investigative YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, we've got some other business we need to take care of too, but we'll get to that. We got to look at what that other one was. Wait,
Miranda Crew back into the membership. Miranda Crew must have just re-upped up.
Way of the Sploot asked, what was our total for Bethesda? Bethesda is ending tonight. What a banner fundraiser, guys.
Bethesda was the
I'm gonna
Oklahoma charity for child survivors of abuse. We have to say that it's the only real organization like that in that area. They do a lot of work on tribal lands. They do a lot of work with people who can't afford therapy or any sort of just treatment after they've survived these horrible things. They do a great service to the children and families of Oklahoma. And like I said on my solo show, it's kind of important to a lot of us because one of the things that you can say about people that are in the cryptid and paranormal communities is we've all kind of retained a sort of sense of childlike wonder about the world.
Yes, absolutely.
And these are kids who have unfortunately had to lose a lot of that through no fault of their own. So
our initial goal was $500 because that would send 2 kids to their summer camp. And guys, look what we did. We all together as Hellbenters
almost hit
as
$5 grand. Almost hit
$5 grand. We almost went 10 times what our initial goal was. And that's all thanks to you guys. The director is beside herself with she's absolutely grateful for what we have all done as a community to help out people who are often forgotten and looked over. But we are ending the Bigfooters for Bethesda fundraiser tonight. Yep. Tonight is the last.
Probably close at around 11 or 12 tonight.
11 or 12 tonight. We'll be closing that out. So that is, I gotta say how proud I am of everybody in this community who has contributed to this very important and often overlooked cause.
Yeah, and you know what? It's cool. We found this, and there's some backstory we're not going to get into right now on why we chose this particular charity. But then we started looking into it, and you know, a lot of times, a lot of these charitable organizations, all the money goes to like the top 2 or 3 people running the charity, and nothing makes its way to the people that you're donating to. The director of the Bethesda organization, given her educational level, should probably be making about 10 times what she makes. You can tell that a lot of these people that are working for them, it's a labor of love, and they're really kind of they're doing a lot without a lot of resources. So
and I'm gonna go ahead. I'll put that link in the chat right now in case you guys want to hit it at the last minute. But we're gonna end that tonight. And gosh, what a success! So
absolutely $5,000. I mean, absolutely. Pork Chop is like, let's get it to 5,000 before it closes. It's crazy. They lost all their like federal funding. They do a summer camp every year where it's $250 to send a kid for a few weeks. They get like a bunch of much needed therapy, but then they also get some like much needed fun and like a sense of normalcy. And it's all ran and administered by people that know how to approach this the right way with children that have their own particular needs and whatnot. It's a great thing, man. So it's pretty cool because it kind of took a life of its own. But it's great, man. It's absolutely great. I was very proud of the community. A lot of times the community is pretty much defined by all the BS that goes on, the fighting, the random viciousness and everything like this. And this was really cool. So,
and then I think that's all we're gonna babble about on other things.
Let's talk some
Dogman. But at the end of the show, before we close out, I made a cool promo because Joe and I are gonna be appearing at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference this month on July 26th. I have a promo for that, which I'll show you guys at the end of the show. But right now, let's roll that beautiful Dogman
footage, right? So yeah, one of the things that if you guys have followed Hellbent Holler, you know that
we got into Dogman through
a joke, basically,
which is sometimes how we get into most things worthwhile, I guess.
Yeah, we brought it up as a joke, and we used to take summertime off because we operate in the South, and it's really hot in the summertime, man. So that's when we did Dark Dive one summer, which was kind of like just a topical discussion between Jesse and I, pre-recorded, not a live show. But we decided one summer we were going to do Dogman Summer. It's because we'd started getting all these reports of Dogman activity, and we kind of laughed them all off. And then we met a few people that had encounters, and we started taking it a little bit seriously.
And I think we were getting
When I emphasis on a little bit, we still thought it was a huge joke.
I think we were getting so inundated that year with the LBL story, the 1982 massacre story. We were just getting inundated with it on the internet constantly. It was a huge topic of discussion, constantly coming up. And I think we just kind of finally, after we received all of these reports from Central North Carolina, we were like, screw it, let's go do it.
And so we decided to start looking into Dogman Hotspots over that summer. We called it Dogman Summer. And we did all these like little joking graphics for it. We did all this crazy stuff. First place we decided to go to was Land Between the Lakes.
Yes.
And that's where we caught that thing on thermal that looks like a traditional dog man. And that's where it really kind of like our reality kind of crumbled at that point. We definitely just kind of looked at it and went, obviously we're open to some weird stuff. This is what we're doing, but you know, it's a lot weirder than what we anticipated. So, and it's funny because we never got past that first Dogman hotspot. No. But we definitely,
but that I think may change in the future.
We're thinking about trying to revisit some of these other areas that are
alleged Dogman hotspots.
Alleged Dogman hotspots.
And we're going to kind of talk about a few of those today and kind of banter about them.
Yeah, and I had my notes here, but of course it's, well, let me see. But you know, and there's some spots that are very much, how do I want to phrase this? The Dogman phenomenon is a lot more widespread than it used to be. And you can either say that's because of increased awareness of it, the fact that it's just like a kind of like an interesting topic that a lot of people have fun with, or you could say that maybe either it's one of two things. Either the activity's always been there and people just weren't reporting it, or the activity has spread. But regardless, there's always these areas that are kind of like hotspots for it, man. There's just areas that are associated with Dogman. One of those being, of course, hold on a second.
I was about to hit
Roberta
that.
Newman, made it alive, just got out of the hospital, will be 63 on Thursday, so I guess I got a heart on my birthday this year. Roberta, A, happy birthday. B, thank you very much. C, I hope you're going to be okay with that. Heck, so take care of yourself out there. Don't exert yourself in this heat.
We'll try not to make you laugh too hard.
Yeah, exactly. So
shake up the old ticker there. But
thank you so much.
We will be saying a prayer for you, and I hope you have a happy birthday.
Miranda just went up to the next level. Thank you, Miranda. That's what she had done. And then Tom. Tom's back being a member. Thank you so much, Tom. So, but LBL's the one that is most, that we're obviously associated with the most, just because we've done a lot of field investigations there. We've done a lot of field investigations in an area that is talked about a lot, but you don't see a lot of field investigations in. You see a lot of activity around the campgrounds. You see a lot of people sitting around talking about it. But as far as going out there and really just busting through the brush on foot, not a lot of that goes on. So we did that. We're kind of associated with the LBL at this point. But there's other areas that we're really looking to kind of like maybe kind of go through and check out, for God's sakes. That
we do have the Dooster here, by the way.
Oh, we got the Dooster in here. Okay. So, and there's areas that are traditionally, the Michigan Dogman's like probably the first big one. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Reports back in like the 1800s.
You've also got Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And then you have areas that are kind of they came about kind of late, kind of came about due to internet discussion, places like Taylor, Mississippi, mm-hmm. that have come into the discussion based on basically internet rumor going around. It's kind of come into the fray at that point.
Of course, as usual, I overdid my notes like you would not.
Traditionally, you've got places like Elkhorn, Wisconsin, and that is where Linda Godfrey did a lot of her work. It was in that area that she was doing, wasn't she doing illustrations for like cartoons for a newspaper?
Yeah, she was associated with a newspaper for it. And she
did an illustration, mm-hmm. and she was doing some investigative journalism work. And it turns out that there was a animal control officer in that area who actually had a file labeled werewolf reports, and that kind of piqued her interest, and she started digging into what are these werewolf reports, and that was kind of her launching point for a lot of the stuff in that area. And you have a lot of behavior that's going on in these northern areas that are early on in this kind of this popular dogman phenomenon, where you have them acting more bestial. It's more of a it's more of a creature kind of on the side of the road consuming roadkill, you know. But you have all of these reports coming out of that area, and you really didn't have a lot of reports coming out of this area, out of the southeast or the south. But I wonder, is that because they weren't happening, or because we didn't have an intrepid reporter like our Linda Godfrey digging into these and compiling all of these?
Well, I mean, here's the deal. When you come to the dogman topic is
polarizing.
It's polarizing, but that's not even what I was going to go for. That's definitely it's a very accurate assessment for it. What's my usual spiel that I do? The most unbelievable aspects of the dogman phenomenon and the dogman community are usually the ones that are front and center.
Yeah.
So most people look at they
get that far in the story and they abandon ship.
And they go, we did the exact same thing. We just went, look at this freak show.
We're the reason
why people walk away from it. But it's, so you've got a lot of conversation going on about it, but you don't really have a lot of good research. And I'm talking about research on either side of the desk. You know what I'm saying? Behind the desk, where you're compiling reports, actually crunching the numbers, and then research on the other side of the desk where you're out there just going, let's grab a 10 millimeter and a backpack and some thermals and let's go out and look, you know. Not a lot of that going on when you really get down to it. And you can tell there's not a lot of it going on because you can go out there and look for yourselves. So I think that the Linda Godfrey was in the right place at the right time. We had somebody who had the ability to approach it in a journalistic fashion and took the topic seriously enough. And I think she took it seriously because when she got involved, she realized that there's something there.
She absolutely ran with it. And it wasn't just she didn't just write a couple of pieces, a couple of curiosity pieces, you know, just for Halloween or something like that. This became a full-fledged obsession. She wrote multiple books about the subject, even branched off into other areas, but she was really focused on the dogman subject itself.
Well, I mean, so she went into this, and, you know, her defining thing that she always talks about, what really kind of changed it for her was my computer just ain't working.
And she referred to it as the man-wolf phenomenon.
The man-wolf phenomenon. But when she went out to interview the local animal control officer, he had
that file.
He had a file labeled werewolves, werewolf. And that's when she went, werewolf reports. And she went, and this guy took it completely seriously. And he was just like, I don't know what's going on, but it's real. So she approached it just out of probably on a whim, because it sounded like, hey, this will be kind of a cool story. You know, it'll be kind of like a good little interest piece. We'll all laugh at these silly people who think they're seeing werewolves. We'll sell a few papers. And then she got involved and she realized that something's there. Now, unfortunately, you know, we lost Linda Godfrey, God rest her soul. I mean, you know, but now our friend Aaron Deese has kind of taken up the mantle. He's like the one doing like real journalistic work on the dogman phenomenon. And guess what? He had the exact same evolution that Linda Godfrey did. I remember when Aaron first started working on the Texas Dogman Triangle, which is a hotspot. Texas is a real hotspot for dogman activity. And
first viewing it as possibly a curiosity, then looking at it as a possible strange evolutionary thing that occurred.
He thought that
was thrown out of nowhere. And then now he's kind of evolved into the direction that there's something here. There's a there, and it's not normal. It's very much paranormal.
He thought that coyotes. I was going to say coy dogs. Coy dogs. I did kind of have like
You're very fancy today with your coyote.
So, I'm going to say coyote again. Coyotes and coy dogs.
Would you like a cup of sangrinka?
So he thought that coy dogs and coyotes were starting to basically evolved to stand on their hind legs more. And that's pretty much what he thought it was. It was a natural evolutionary kind of path for just a common animal. Then as he got involved in this,
we have to tell the story that Grizz used his 20-month membership thing to tell us. We'll have to talk about this incident.
But Tardox says, funny you never hear a cuddly story about humans becoming friends with Dogman. I love Dogman.
You do,
but I don't find any of them believable.
They're very strange.
Yes,
they're very strange. And this goes back to our story about the human Bigfoot Dogman hybrid situation and those sexy little books that people like to read and write. So, but that seems to be the only kind of area where that happens.
Yeah, but Aaron had a very similar, and we should have him on one night just to talk about how he's evolved. If you ever watch Aaron's one of the smartest, maybe the smartest person that's involved in this sort of stuff. His brain is he's a very quick-witted person, and the brain doesn't stop. And just, if you've ever hear him speak, his intelligence comes through very, very clearly. And equally important, he's very open-minded. So even though he originally had well, this is impossible, there's got to be an explanation for it. As he got involved in this subject, he goes, there's something to it. This is real. I don't know what the answer is, but this is real. It takes a certain flexibility of your mind to be able to look at something and go, okay, everything I thought was wrong. You've got to have a certain humbleness to it. You've got to have you have to have an ability and a desire to kind of put your ego to the side and just go, I know people are going to make fun of me. I know I'm completely contradicting what I said before I had more data, but something's going on here. I don't know what it is. So he and Linda Godfrey have had very similar trajectories as far as that goes. He's
got to write a lot more books to catch up with her, though.
Exactly. So, he's a young dude. He's got him in him. So
he has written the Texas Dogman Triangle, and then he wrote the book that Werewolf Dogman Territory was based off of about the LBO.
So Jeff, thank you for being a member, my man.
Thank you, Jeff.
Greatly appreciate it. So
Jeff is super active, along with
Discord.
I'm going there. Let me finish a sentence for once in my life. Good God. Jeff is super active on our Discord. That is a cool spot where our members can hang out. If you join up as a member, you support this project, you support what we do, and you join up with this community. You can join up at the Discord, and we have a lot of private little chats there. We share all kinds of cool theories and ideas. We also share inside information and inside photos of strange rocks that we pull out of the woods. And if we got a geologist that can help us out, we might bring you over there. No questions asked. Okay. We got some rock questions. All right. That was the aside. Joe, go ahead.
So I lost my train of thought now. But
you got to stay on the rails.
It's and that's why the Dogman topic's so fascinating to me. Is because once you scratch away all of the sensational, because it's a sensational topic, you've got some pretty wacky behavior that's associated with it. You have something about
what came first, the wacko or the Dogman?
Exactly. Something about the Dogman topic. And I often wonder if there's something going on that if there's an overarching kind of like high strangeness intelligence that, like a John Keel talked about, like a super spectrum type thing. And sometimes, you hear this with like UFO and alien reports. Sometimes it seems like when people have these encounters, the entities that they experience act in such a ridiculous manner. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose. So that way, when people, if they do decide to kind of report it, they sound crazy. And that's why a lot of people don't report this stuff. I've often wondered if some of the personalities that get involved with Dogman and the extreme strange behavior that comes along with that topic is that consciously done by something other to kind of like keep the topic,
something enters their brain and plants the crazy
or it
seed.
attracts certain people in order to keep the topic from being taken seriously.
Yeah.
But then you get people that take it seriously, they get in it, and
then it starts to attract other crazy people, and maybe whatever this energy or this entity is, maybe it feeds off of this crazy energy. You know?
So it is it's there's something to it, as crazy as it sounds. And that's the sad thing is that if you look at like the hierarchy of the paranormal, Dogman ain't taken too seriously even by other people in the paranormal
no,
in the community.
Not
there's a lot of Bigfoot people out there that hear Dogman and they just shut down and they instantly stop taking you seriously. And guess what? If you're looking for like community, like respect and to like fit in and like the respect of like your Bigfoot hunting peers, a lot of times you don't mention Dogman. But guess what? For me, it's almost a realer topic than Bigfoot is. You know, I may have had a sighting of something when I was a kid that could be considered a Bigfoot, but I don't know if I dreamed that or I don't know if I hoaxed that.
You know for sure that you walked down that Forest Service road and you heard a noise and then you pulled that thermal up to your eye and you saw something and you snapped 2 photos. You know for sure you did that as an adult man.
Yeah. So to me, Dogman in a way is more real than Bigfoot is. And it's people can kind of, and guess what? Outside of like a very small, narrow segment of the cryptid community, Dogman's not really looked down. It's looked down upon because guess what? It probably is a biological impossibility. When you get right down to it, Bigfoot's a biological impossibility, no matter how you dress it up or wrap it up with a bow.
Right.
And no matter how you try to bend biology, zoology, no matter how you try to like twist logic and science around to try to like appeal and just go, oh, Bigfoot's just an undiscovered animal. Everything from like the environment that an omnivore that size would have on it's either got to have an insanely wide range, which every mile you add onto that increases the possibility of it dying or being killed and a body found. You know what I'm saying? If it's staying in very, very, very small geographic areas, it would decimate the ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? Just
this is the apex of the apex predator.
Exactly right. And apex predators don't generally, they're stealthy. They don't evolve to stay hidden. So anyway, I'm digressing, but it's no more implausible than Sasquatch.
Right.
And then if you look at these areas, and you know, we all know the areas what they are as far as like the
Lawns and Booze, thank you for that super chat. Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you, everyone who donated to Bethesda. I don't know if you were on here earlier, Krista. I am going to end that tonight at midnight. So if anybody else wants to get in on the last call of the Bethesda
get on this at the ground floor.
I'm going to put that in the chat. We're ending that at midnight, but we blew the goal out of the water. I'm going to look and see where it's at right now.
Nathan from the Quantum Show, thank you for being a member. And then
you guys, I just refreshed this. We just hit 5,000.
$5,000 for the kids of Oklahoma. That is amazing.
Y'all.
That is amazing. Is that the patron saint of Hellbent Holler?
That's
Sheila
the patron
Evelyn,
saint right there. Yeah,
Alan
Sheila
Castleberry,
Evelyn.
Sheila Perkins,
Nicole Kane.
Did Pork Chop?
Pork Chop's
again. Already gone in, and Pork Chop went in again. Scroll down. Let's
I'm
give everybody
attempting to scroll. It's not scrolling this. I'm looking here. Well, guys.
Grab right there and drag that down.
There we go.
See all. Nicole Kane, Pork Chop.
Let's see. Yep.
Pork
Chop started it off tonight.
Pork Chop's already hit it a couple times.
Pork Chop is on a mission.
We're gonna shut this down at probably 11 o'clock tonight, guys.
Oh, well, we'll shut it down at 11 o'clock. $5,000 for Bethesda. 10 times our goal. You guys killed it.
Now again, we don't see any of that cash. It doesn't come to us.
No, it goes directly to Bethesda.
It goes direct. When we shut it, the money goes to them.
Yep.
We wanted to set this up where there was no, let's just be honest, cryptid paranormal community, it's a little shady sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So a little shady sometimes. Oh yeah. So we set it up so that when this this charity drive ends, the money's going to go directly to them. There's no middle person. There's no intermediary. There's nothing at all. It's going to go directly.
I don't write a big check or something like that. Nope, it goes directly.
Although that would be awesome if you did one of those big cardboard check
presentations. It would be very cool. It would be very cool. But no, it gets dispersed directly to Bethesda. They get the funds directly. And so I want to thank every one of you guys who donated to that and who shared it and was part of this whole thing. This is kind of just an idea we had, and I can't believe how successful it absolutely was.
Wow. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. You guys are just beyond.
You know what? And here's the deal.
Pork Chop's the MVP here.
Pork Chop went hard. I knew the patron saint, Sheila, Evelyn had said something before about contributing to it. And
Yeah.
she came through heavy as well. But we've got everybody always just goes, oh, we've got the best community in the, we've got the best little like group in the community, in the greater community. We do, man.
Yeah.
We have cool people. What did what was the comment that somebody made this past week? They were upset because they were going, oh, all of your larger than life channel members and larger than life personalities on your channel and your chat. And I'm going, they are, right? They are, man. So, hey, our buddies from the Half Inch Wrench crew. I messaged them just the other day. I'm sure a lot of you guys watch Half Inch Wrench and Sasquatch Theory, Miguel. We were talking.
Their Killing Fields releases have been awesome. After the show tonight, if you guys have not checked out Half Inch Wrench Crew or Sasquatch Theory, they have been doing amazing, awesome audio collection in the Killing Fields area in Missouri, and it's cool. I'm sorry, interrupting.
No.
Awesome. These are great watches. They are on YouTube, Half Inch Wrench Crew, and they are some of the only people that are really taking this field work seriously.
I have a hard time watching other like field investigation channels because I look at it and I'm going, you're out there with your phones, man. Yeah. Come on, take the topic seriously, but then I watch like Half Inch Wrench and Miguel and all of them, and then we're like going, hey, people who take it equally just as seriously as we do with their equipment and their approach. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, jumping off the charity and back to Dogman. So we know that there's certain hotspots. Like the phenomenon is pretty much.
Mr. Boo wants to see The Rock live. Mr. Booberry is like, where is The Rock?
So
we've got some rock drama over at the members zone. We went and grabbed a mysterious stone out of the woods.
Bigfoot Michigan Rob, thank you, buddy. Congrats on the efforts for the cause. Nice. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, everybody that contributed and took part in that. So, but this phenomenon is pretty much, we get reports from South America all the time. The Lobra Zone. There's like so many different like little regions. The Lobra Zone.
Jesus.
There's so many like different little variations of that term. You remember we used to have that guy that was in that metal band whose family was from a small village in, was it Peru? I can't remember, but the village, he said, my family still, they don't go out at night because these things like attack livestock and all that down there. But these upright wolf creature reports come from all over the world. But, there's spots in North America that are more active than others. And they're the ones that everybody knows. There's obviously the LBL. Beast of Bray Road, the Michigan Dogman, which is in like Wexford County. That's technically I think it was like 1887, 1886 when the first kind of like Dogman account was actually done, was actually, filed up there. People were reporting seeing upright wolves in the forests and whatnot. You've got Aaron's Texas Dogman Triangle, like we talked about, down near, especially the more remote areas of Texas. There's a lot of Dogman activity reported down through there. There's other ones that are on here when I was just kind of doing some research. Sugar Creek, Ohio. There was an intense wave of upright canine reports in the 2010s. In and around Greenbrier, West Virginia. And one of the things that I tried to do is when I was trying to gather some of these reports up, I'm going, I want you to note for me, we have a paid version of ChatGPT. You can't trust a lot of what it says if you ask it regular stuff. We've swiftly learned that. But if you flat out go, give me reports with citation, tell me where you got the report from. I want a clickable link that I can verify.
Yeah, always ask for a citation if you're going to use anything like that.
But what it's good for, it's good for combing through a lot of data. And it's good for looking for patterns that maybe a person would just get exhausted before they could discover at this point. A lot of these hotspots have associated other high strangeness type activity going on, especially anomalous lights, strange lights that seem to occur around there. And you don't know whether that's UFO activity, orb activity,
Witch lights, spook lights.
Yeah, but
lights.
a lot of these areas have associated, and you always hear, well, there's also Bigfoot reports in that area. And I'm like, are there, or are people just seeing tall, hairy, dark figures and they're just reporting it as a Bigfoot because that's what they're conditioned to?
Is it true?
Is it really?
Is it
So,
really?
but the other stuff that goes hand in hand with this is I'm looking at some of these areas, Daniel Boone National Forest, Boggy Creek even. Now, Boggy Creek's known for the Falk Monster, which is considered to be a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
But the area around Boggy Creek, a lot of anomalous canine and wolf activity, both on all fours and bipedal, around that area. So I'm always looking at this going, are we looking at Dogman hotspots, or are we looking at these classic window areas where there's a lot of stuff going on? It's just that the Dogman stuff is the most sensational and it's the most dramatic, and that's what people lock in on. Because quite honestly, if you see what amounts to like a movie werewolf, you have a close-up sighting and you escape with your life, and then you maybe saw some weird lights before or after, that's going to kind of like,
and if you think about
fade into the background.
Think about how it relates to movies as well. Growing up as a kid, you had something like Boggy Creek. You had something like that. You didn't have a lot of films that were Bigfoot films, Definitely had a lot of banner werewolf films. That's something that was a fear that we had as kids, because we had seen all these phenomenal movies that had werewolves in them and the great special effects. You just didn't have a lot of stuff like that. So that's something that you can visually, it's more tangible, I guess, as something that's more of a horror movie trope or a horror movie thing, that is more terrifying. Maybe that's why it's more sensational than the idea of a monkey running through the woods.
A couple quick things too for this. Well, one of the areas too that I didn't expect to see for Dogman reports is the Appalachian Trail. You always hear about that with Bigfoot reports, but you hear Bigfoot reports, but when you dial into the description, you go, that sounds more like an upright canine than something that would look like a primate, or a hominid of some sort. And, that's odd now, especially when you get to the southern portion, Tennessee, North Carolina area is where that's the part of the Appalachian Trail that really gets a lot of Dogman reports.
Yeah.
For it, or creatures that could be Dogman. Yeah. There's a place there's Southern Illinois, McHenry County, that has Dogman sightings, but then phantom hound, like hellhound, blackhound type sightings. Something that you see an overlap with is the areas that have the Dogman, the spectral hound sightings. They also have a lot of paranormal hitchhiker activity. The Woman in White, or just the traditional phantom hitchhiker stories where I picked up, and you go, well, is it just because that's a spooky area and people are predisposed to telling spooky stories, or is there just a lot of crazy stuff going on?
Could it be one of those areas that John Keel described as one of those
window areas?
Werewolf
Werewolf Springs, Grizz had talked about when we were at the
yes, let's talk about that.
Montgomery Bell State Park for the first Tennessee Wildman Conference.
That is where we first met Kim Drescher as well, in person. My God, what a blast that was.
We had
the first Tennessee Wildman.
A small group of Hellbenders there, and we all had a freaking ball.
Was that the first one or the second one?
It was the first one.
It was the first one.
So the conference
God.
was in the state park.
Montgomery Bell State Park.
That's where Werewolf Springs is. So we decided to get some Hellbenders up to go to.
We were going to go to Werewolf Springs at night. We were all going to gather together and then go. Joe and I scouted it out early in the day because they're like, okay, cool. We can get over here. We'll just all load up and in our cars and we'll all caravan over here and then let's all go check it out. So we gathered up a whole group of people. We were all stoked. We're excited. Everybody's got their damn hiking boots on and shoes and everything. We're about to go in there. We all caravan over, and this is a few miles away. We have to go around the park, around to another side of the park. We all caravan over there, and we were shut down.
The park knew that there was a cryptid and paranormal conference taking place in the park, so they shut access to Werewolf Springs down. which was really, and it was very blatant what they did.
It was. And if I was in charge, I would have been in there like a little Irish freak. I would have walked right in there and said, you know, I would have given them like 2 cents.
So that's where, if you ever hear us,
Conor McGregor in there.
if you ever hear us refer to Kim Drescher as Patty Hearst, because Kim was with us and we turn around and we're just like, so Kim.
She had just met us
She
just
just
hours
met us.
before this.
And we're like, we're thinking about breaking in to Werewolf Springs.
Let me get my boots on.
Yes. Just like no hesitation. We're like going, it's probably illegal. That's okay. Let me get my boots on. I'll meet you back in just a. So yeah, she if you remember Patty Hearst, what was that? The Symbionese Liberation Front. She got like kidnapped by them. And then the next time you saw him, she's like carrying a machine gun, helping them rob banks. That's like Kim, man. Kim dove in with both feet. But we could not ever get in there. We couldn't figure out how to get in there. It was crazy. So we need to do a Werewolf Springs thing. I know Elijah and Gabby Henderson from Cryptid Studies have done a lot of stuff in and around there. So
yeah, but I mean, what are we gonna have to do? Zip line in or something? We got to figure that out.
Slither on our bellies under the cover of darkness.
On our bellies.
So another quick thing here as well, from a few moments ago. Duke, have you guys heard of the Dogman Hotel outside of Reed City, Michigan? It's an abandoned airport from the 50s, still open to the public. I have not heard about that. Have you heard about that?
I'm writing it down, though.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Duke. But no, I have not heard about that. So wait, hold on. Something's on the edge of my memory that I think I read on Reddit one time.
Well, that's never good.
Yeah, no doubt. So, but no, we'll check that out. Thank you for that.
Abandoned airport? All right, cool. Yeah, I'm writing that down on my show notes.
Cole had said, why do you think they brought in the elk and the bison on LBL? They had to feed those creatures something. That's my theory.
So they did a reintroduction of elk and bison to the area. They used to be native species to the area, and they have them in a field, a couple of fields actually. I don't think that was the motivation for it. I think it was a reintroduction thing. What's interesting though is if you saw our second series from the LBL, the werewolf experiments, I think that was kind of like a big turning point for us for Dogman and the cryptid thing as a whole. If you watch that series, we go up there and we find all these bones that lead up to what we refer to as Station 16, which is this old well pump station on top of this hill, sort of in the middle of the peninsula. But we go out there and we find this trail of bones leading up to this creepy Evil Dead shack on top of a hill. We go up there and there's bones inside of it. And then there's bones down in the hole that leads down into where the tunnels are for the wells. And some of them are huge. Some of them are huge and thick, and they're broken open.
And we had somebody look at them who's involved in veterinary science, and they are like, they're bovine. They're like, I don't know, it could be like a cow. There's no cows around there. The closest bovines are the bison.
Yeah.
And even a juvenile bison's still a massive animal to get, and if it got out of the enclosure, that's miles to where it was found. And then what killed it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what killed it? I mean, there's not really a lot of black bear. There's not like a breeding population, but they sometimes cross through the LBL. They occasionally kind of wander in there. And there's coyotes, but none of them are taking down a bison. There's not a predator there that's large enough to take one of these things down. Officially,
yeah,
but something killed it and something snapped the bones from marrow, and that's terrifying. I mean, it's thick bone, man. So something's feeding on those things there, and I'm just looking at it, going, man, my imagination's kind of getting away from me. But did something take one of these bison, like a juvenile bison, out of the enclosure and then carry it or somehow get it there, and then that's where it fed upon it, so it could feed uninterrupted or undisturbed. So, what you got? What was I laughing about? Yeah, what was you laughing?
We need to address some rock stuff here. We got to address some rock stuff here. I'm still laughing at Joe lugging the bowling ball sized meteorite out of the woods. It made me think of Joe Dirt and his red wagon.
So just to give some context for this, I've been doing some solo jaunts into the Blackthorn area that you've seen. And this is kind of, we're all over the damn place, but you know,
it's our show. We can do what we want.
Do whatever the hell we want.
We'll turn it off right here.
And we, so Blackthorn's got a lot of weird activity. It's other than me getting possibly hit with something once and then another thing maybe thrown at me, most of it's been focused on Jesse. So I've been kind of going in there to see if I can stimulate anything like solo. You know, if I can get something to happen to me while I'm in there by myself, because it's such a sketchy area with like wells and barbed wire and just, you know, things that can really like hurt you beyond the paranormal. I've done a lot of it on daytime solo stuff. So I was going down an old road that hasn't probably been used in like 50 or 60 years. And I see where something is going in and out of the woods. So I go into there and I find 3 wooden triangles. So 3 triangles made out of like trees. One's made out of like down trees. One's made out of sticks. So when I get back out on the road, I notice that something's been going in and out on the other side. So I go in there and I find a previously unknown old road that looks like maybe it led to some homesteads that were there once upon a time before the land was taken. And I start finding stuff in the trees, and I eventually find a big bowling ball size. It looks like a meteorite or iron slag that's just on a downed tree. And I look at it, I go, this is very weird. I mark it on my GPS and I make a comment on the video and I go, let's all take a moment to appreciate the fact that Jesse's not here with me right now, because we all know what would happen afterwards. I'd be carrying this damn rock out. Well, needless to say,
little did you know,
Jesse saw the footage. So we had to go back and I carried the rock out. So we hauled this. We don't know what it is. It's not magnetic. It doesn't trigger.
It's a giant mystery stone
that looks like a meteorite or iron slag that's not magnetic, doesn't trigger a metal detector, and it has slightly elevated levels of radiation to it.
So a big question that we have that gave me a phenomenal idea. Will The Rock be touring this fall? I think I might bring The Rock to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot conference. I think The Rock may come to the Smoky Mountain
Rock
Bigfoot
might give
conference.
The presentation.
I think The Rock might come.
We might send The Rock in our stead. Not even, we'll just stay home.
We'll stay home. The Rock will be there. You guys can hang out with The Rock. Buy The Rock drinks, but don't get him too hammered. You know what I'm saying?
Can't hold his booze.
He can't. Yeah. He is a rock after all. But I
can't hold anything. No hands.
No hands. But I think I'm going to bring The Rock with us to Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. If you guys want to come and clang something on it,
I don't know,
touch it for power, whatever you guys want to do. I'll make a rock display. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
That sounds good. All right.
So
back to business. Oh, I will say though, Surviving the Strange did mention something here. He said the entrance is still blocked off at Werewolf Springs.
Really?
Still closed.
Huh.
Hellbent Holler shut down Werewolf Springs.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. So
now I'm gonna
Mr. Blueberry.
Now I am slithering in on my belly.
My new nickname is Jowl. Jowl.
Jowl.
What's your thoughts about the Dogman sightings that look like a hyena instead of a canine? I am fascinated with the Appalachian hyena stories that are look more like traditional hyenas, like on all fours. I've talked about this time and time again. I've never had an actionable case where one time there was a guy that was within driving distance of us, mentioned on social media that he had activity with hyena-like creatures going on. They're always very aggressive. A lot of times hunters see them. They take their deer that they have just shot, usually singular or up to a pack of 3. They appear to be flesh and blood creatures. Some people talk about, shooting them. Then you have the ones that Mr. Blueberry's talking about, which appear to be hyena-like creatures that are on 2 legs that generally, and you hear all sorts of stuff about them, Dogman variant this, I don't keep up with all of the subspecies of Sasquatch because I'll have people go, oh, it's probably a gugwe or something like that. And I'm going, I don't think we know enough about any of these creatures to really start. I mean, you can look at variations on them, but it does appear to be that a lot of those creatures that have more of a hyena-like appearance are even more aggressive than the Bigfoot ones.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, than the regular like werewolf looking ones.
I had to go have a conversation with The Rock. Joe, bad news, you're out.
So, The Rock is taking
The Rock is in, you're out.
So we in the area that we're at in the Southern Appalachians, you don't really get a lot of those reports. You get the hyenas that are on all fours, or you get the traditional upright werewolf type creatures. You know what I'm saying? So, and I find for some reason, I find hyenas, like just their appearance, to be kind of disturbing. Their hyenas are pretty scary. You know, they look off. They look evil. You know what I'm saying? Hyenas just have a more intimidating appearance than a wolf does to me. And I guess that's maybe why I'm so fascinated with the Appalachian hyena, like the standard one. The upright ones like that, that'd be terrifying. That'd probably be the worst possible thing that you could run across as far as like physical creatures went at that point. But we don't get a lot of those in the Southern Appalachians. So
have you seen the jaw strength of a hyena? It's insane.
Oh, it's insane. You know what I'm saying? So one of the craziest things I ever saw was like militias and gangs and certain parts of Africa would actually have hyenas on chains, and I'm just going, what the hell?
That's dope.
Who has it's crazy to look at, man. Just going, how could you do that? But it is, one of the
thing about riding the tiger. You just can't get off.
Can't get off. You can't let that hyena go. One of my favorite Dogman Hotspot stories, though, still was it Tennessee Wildman where we did that stream from the hotel?
Wild and Weird.
Wild and Weird. It was Wild and Weird, West Virginia. We were streaming from the hotel, and we all the chat got on the topic of Taylor, Mississippi.
Oh my God.
And the Dogman activity that was there. And we had somebody in the chat.
There was a meltdown.
Somebody in the chat. There was a couple people in the chat that got so angry that we were thinking about going to Taylor, Mississippi to look into Dogman activity.
Somebody mentioned Taylor, Mississippi earlier here in the chat. I don't know who, it was way back, but so the whole Taylor, Mississippi thing, I think that originated from Dark Waters channel, where he got some reports about Taylor,
Lockett
Mississippi.
Ranch was the big thing for it. Yeah, the siege at Lockett Ranch was the big one. Although when I was doing research for the show, and you never know, it's people posting online. They could just be trying to feed into the mythology of it. But there were some interesting reports from people in and around the Taylor, Mississippi area that were reporting legit activity that was taking place there. And you don't know whether now I couldn't find anything for Lockett Ranch. I couldn't find any of the individuals listed, but then again, I did a cursory look. It might be there. But the funny thing about Taylor, Mississippi is that there was the rumor that if anybody showed up from outside, from out of town, that the police arrested them on the spot. That if we tried to show up, people in the chat were so upset. If we tried to show up to investigate that area, they were going to arrest us, impound our car, impound the equipment, and we would just disappear into the legal system. So we start looking into Taylor, Mississippi. There's a real well-known wedding chapel there that people from all over that region come to have their weddings. And I'm going, well, are all these people being arrested? Because they'll know that you're there to look for dogs.
Yeah.
So this was right after the Area 51 thing where people were going to storm Area 51. Remember the tagline, "They can't stop us all"? And for Area 51, all those people were going to gather in the desert around Area 51 and rush the gate. And it started as an online thing, but then it just spread and people really started to kind of get into the idea. I remember seeing a post somewhere from a guy that was in the National Guard through there. And he was going, guys, y'all need to chill out because people in power are starting to take this rush Area 51 thing seriously.
Yeah.
He goes, they're training us on 50 caliber machine guns right now and everything like that. Y'all are not getting in regardless. So we started a similar thing for Taylor, Mississippi. We were all going to show up at Taylor, Mississippi, hundreds of us. And the tagline was, "They can't arrest us all." And we figured they'd run out of jail space and some of us would be able to get in and actually investigate the activity around Taylor, Mississippi. Since then, we've had people that live in and around Taylor, Mississippi contact us and go, They don't really arrest people. They don't, my cousin comes and visits us from out of state.
There's such a instant reaction some people have, and there's something planted in their brains where they have this instant reaction. If you mention Taylor, Mississippi, well, you can't go there. You just can't go. You just can't. You can't go there. You'll get arrested. They'll throw you under the jail. They don't let people in from outside.
Yeah. And
They're trying to protect the dog man.
So, we're probably going to end up doing something in around Taylor, Mississippi soon. Soon, relatively speaking, few months.
They can't arrest us all.
Can't arrest us all. So watch that. Watch us just all of a sudden we go, oh, we're going to Taylor, Mississippi, and we've talked all this crap and all this smack. And then we just totally disappear for a few months. And then we come back on. We both lost 60 pounds, hollow eyes. They've had us in solitary the whole time, guys. They got us right on the city limits. They were just waiting for us. But and it's so that's somewhere that interests me because I want to kind of parse through fact and fiction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We did that without the LBL. You don't really get an idea for the LBL until you go there. You listen to all the stories, and then you go, cool.
Let's go take a look.
And
we shattered a lot of misconceptions about the LBL. There was this situation going on when it came to the LBL where you had the same few people kind of talking in circles. And they were backing up their own stories with a story they told somebody, and then they backed up their story with a story they told each other. And it's just circular kind of
it's circular
confirmation.
Yeah, perfect term.
Yeah.
Perfect term for it. Circular confirmation.
You report something, somebody uses your report as a reference, and then you use their report as a reference, and it just constantly goes on. It's a tactic in journalism, actually.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, thank you.
Please continue.
Please continue. So you had a huge proponent, a huge problem with that was constantly going on. And it seems like there was some sort of cornering on the LBL market when it came to that. And you would hear insane stories and stuff that made no sense whatsoever. So we're like, you know what? Instead of us arguing with people online about, oh, homie, this sounds crazy. We were like, let's go check it out. And that's kind of what we did. And then we did our first series out there where Joe captured that thermal. We did our second series, the werewolf experiments, where we really started to dig into it. And every time we go back there, we kind of peel back another layer of the onion in a way. And we've done a lot of hardcore research on it. Aerial photography, et cetera. And we kind of dispelled a lot of the things that were kind of going around. Well, us finding that other campground that really fit the story, but it was in the wrong place. And we started to put these puzzle pieces together. Joe and I have discussed doing this. I think eventually soon we're going to do a definitive LBL kind of documentary and really put our findings forward. We've done a lot of talking about it on this show where we've discussed things that we found, but we've never formally put it in a video or a documentary or anything like that. Put all the pieces together that we've discovered through our guerrilla journalism, but also our hardcore digging into these subjects and this place. So I think we're gonna actually do that. We're gonna put the rubber to the road. And
what's crazy is that kind of the unspoken hotspots that you don't hear a lot about, in the greater narrative. Southwest Virginia, okay, the southwestern corner of the state of Virginia, not West Virginia, but the southwest corner of Virginia is bananas as far as the amount of aggressive Bigfoot and Dogman activity in that area. And Western North Carolina is got a ton of stuff going on there. I mean, a ton of stuff going on there. It's to the point where I keep going, God, I can't believe nobody's really talking about this because there's so many reports from there. But I guess that's what's happened is that some places have already been kind of solidified as Dogman Hotspots. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of get all the attention, and then some real active areas just kind of get lost in the.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Always a dogman's bridesmaid, never a dog bride. Anyway.
I want to just say that I'm so proud of all of you that this has not devolved into a discussion on dog woman. Or her anatomy.
What's up, Henry? So yeah, but it's weird because it's if we hit the lottery tomorrow, okay.
Okay, so we have some questions about the Lockett Ranch thing. Some people are saying Alabama. Some people are saying somewhere completely different. You were pulling that from your noggin. You need to let's fact check the Lockett Ranch.
So hold on here. So Lockett Ranch.
Pull that up, Joey. I could never call you Joey. You'd never be a Joey to me. Because we've got a lot in the chat. We got a lot of discussion. I thought Lockett Ranch was here.
Taylor, Mississippi. The original story was from 1948, Taylor, Mississippi, the siege of Lockett Ranch. Now, here's the deal. The story may have grown and changed and all that. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts on this subject anymore. So that
was a while back when that whole thing came to be. God, that was a fun night.
So Lockett Ranch was in Alabama. Somebody said New York. And here's
Ventus Bruma here. Thank you for the super chat. Dark Waters has said the Lockett Ranch stuff has the names of the place, and
there we go.
Changed at the request of the people who told him the story.
That's perfect. Thank you. And again, like I said, I did a cursory look and I couldn't find anything on there. But
Taylor, Mississippi might not be the thing at all.
Maybe other details have been changed at this point. Well, if it's not Lockett Ranch, then how did Taylor, Mississippi become associated with Dogman at that point?
I don't know. But it's one of those things. If I change out every component of my cell phone, is it the same cell phone? Are we telling the same story?
There's a comedian that did that, and he had a prop comedian. Might have been Carrot Top. I don't know. He had George Washington's hatchet. And he goes, I've had to replace the handle and the head, but it occupies the same space.
Well,
there you go. So
Taylor, Mississippi, it is, I guess. But that's the thing is if you replace every detail in the story, where does it come? How does it come?
Yeah, exactly. So it's people are saying Maine.
Inquiring
I did not know. Like I said, because I was under the assumption that it was Taylor, Mississippi. But you know what? Let's Google it, shall we? So
South Forest 10 says several reports of a beast in North Carolina at Whiteside Mountain near Devil's Courthouse. Joe and I have spent some time at Devil's Courthouse. It's where
Taylor, Mississippi,
near where my family cemetery is.
When Dark Waters was on, or when this was discussed on Sasquatch Chronicles, they talk about Taylor, Mississippi. It's odd that it has kind of spread out where people guess what? Because here's the deal: is that there's probably activity in these other areas that may be similar, and people might be going, "Oh, it's that siege at Lockett Ranch thing." So
yeah. Telephone game. Chris says, take Aaron D's to Taylor.
We were wanting to get out to Texas with him to kind of check out some spots.
I think we'll be doing that.
I really want to try to get Aaron out on a full-fledged night investigation.
We got to start hitting some new locations because we got to start taking the Rock out on the road.
The Rock the Rock needs some exposure to some new things. Otherwise he's not going to. Ghetto Yeti, our boy. Finding the campsite was actually cut down, was kind of a big thing. Doc's a great idea. If you're familiar with the
is that what that says?
Traditional Yeti's probably been drinking for about the past 2 days.
Oh.
It's about as legible as we're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? Just be glad that,
Close enough.
Close enough.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
So
carry
the 82 massacre story in the LBL talked about this happened on the north end. But there was an RV campground up there. We've talked about this freaking every month.
Every month. But Jan Thompson worked in a gas station up on the north end.
Heard from two cops
who just came from right there.
And then, but the area that everybody thinks where the massacre supposedly happened out, we've looked at and we've actually done legwork and done research on, and we've gone, there was never a campground here. There was a Tennessee Valley Authority
work
camp here. There was never an RV campground. Now, that's not to say that an RV couldn't have just pulled in there. One of the things that, but anyway, but we did find a campground that can take RVs that is on the south end.
That's super nice.
Super nice.
And was shut down in 82.
For
unknown reasons.
And it's got a ton of Dogman reports from that little corner of the LBL.
Surrounding it.
And I'm thinking something like the telephone game happened. that somebody heard that a campsite was shut down, and then they were, because the north end is very easily accessible. There's a welcome center right down the road. Heck, you can drive like 20 minutes to go get pizza from where the massacre supposedly
or one of the best fried chicken sandwiches you've ever had.
That is a good anyway, but it is. We thought that maybe somebody went there and saw the cut down power poles and the remnants of the infrastructure when the Tennessee Valley Authority work camp was there, and went, oh, this must be where it happened, and the story just took off. So yeah, we're still leaning towards it. If it happened in that abandoned campground that we found, which is a tough trek to get on foot, because they seems like every so often they shut that all the roads are closed down to get in there. You got to go in on foot.
Yeah.
And when we went on foot, we came back later on to do a night investigation there, and we found unmarked police cars where we had parked out before. One from Tennessee, one from Kentucky. Could have just been happenstance, just a coincidence. That's a weird ass coincidence, though. So, but you know, for these, like,
Sarge says you're doing a great job. You know, I never get a great job. It's always Joe this, Joe that. Joe, let me tell you this.
Look who's that. No longer Central Florida Bigfoot. Central Kentucky Bigfoot as of 2025. Our buddy Matt. What's up, Matt? Our buddy Matt is a phenomenal. He's like a researcher's researcher.
It's going to be like next week, it's going to be Central Kentucky Bigfoot as of 2025. The artist formerly known as.
So yeah. So, I mean, so what are some of the other like hotspots you guys have heard about out there? I never know how to pronounce it, as Palmyra. Where the family was basically
Palmyra. April Black says Palmyra is in Maine.
Yeah, but is it Palmyra? I don't ever know how to pronounce it. That's an extremely compelling story.
Mm-hmm.
And now, however, I could not find, just under a cursory look, I couldn't find a lot of other activity up there. You know. But you really don't need a lot of activity up through there. That's a very hostile, aggressive, long duration kind of encounter. And, you know, we've got a show that we're coming up, and we were going to originally kind of do this with Bigfoot, but there's a thing called survivor's bias, where if you have a broad spectrum phenomenon that a lot of people don't walk away from, but you're only getting the story from the survivors, then that's all you build that narrative upon.
Yeah.
So if you don't get the story of what happened to the people that don't walk away, and maybe the Palmyra, and I'm not pronouncing that right, I'm sure, maybe you don't hear of a lot because the other people that are having similar encounters don't make it back to tell you what they experienced. So you're only getting the story from the people that made it back.
They live to tell the tale.
They live to tell the tale.
Scorpius 17 says, will this LBL project involve mapping, or should that remain OPSEC?
When we do the big the big doc, we'll probably map everything out.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't share exact locations, because in case we go back there, it's a personal safety thing.
Yeah.
But for the LBL doc, we'll probably map everything out. Just throw everything, just knock the whole house of cards down.
If we do that, then at that point, we're probably about done.
We can't go back to the LBL after that point.
You can never go back again. Yeah, because we have insane maps. So I actually use a mapping software. In every location we go to, I go and I mark where we find certain things, where certain locations are. So every location, Uwari, LBL, Blackthorn, all of these places that we go to, I have these insanely populated maps with every location that we investigate, everything we find in these locations. So you could actually just do a Hellbent Holler LBL tour.
If we did it, but if we did here's the deal. If we did a documentary and then a book and just mapped everything out and went, because a lot of people still ask me, people
email us all the time
asking for like locations. And I'm just like,
can't tell you right now.
Because we might end up back up there. And there's already enough crazy people associated with the LBL too.
Yeah.
I just had something I started too. Hold on 1 second.
Charlotte Night Star, the werewolf. Well, we found our werewolf.
Oh, Amethyst the Scientist. Thank you so much for that. Amethyst the Scientist. Thank you. And Toe Dog said, Palmyra. There we go, Palmyra.
Thank you,
Thank you, Toe Dog, for correcting my pronunciation. So,
did you do Ventus Bruma, who's talking about Dark Waters, has said this story took place near Taylor, and he has other stories from there. He even had an encounter himself there on the side of a road when a witness brought him to the site of his encounter.
Thank you for that, Ventus. Now, didn't Dark Waters stop doing cryptid stuff?
I think he does political commentary
now. I think right.
He's left the cryptid and paranormal sphere.
Can you blame him sometimes? You know what I'm saying? So, can you blame him? But it, so yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think that if we, and that might be like a community decision, if we start to look into some of these other like Dogman hotspots. Obviously, if we go far north, that's something we got to plan out. And you know, the only thing that always gets us is we're so equipment heavy.
We can't fly anywhere.
You can't fly with a lot of that stuff, man. I mean, I guess you could, but
driving's always a little iffy.
If they lost that luggage, we're out of business, man. You know what I'm saying? There ain't rebuilding at that point.
No.
You know? So we ain't rebuilding.
And then we can't carry on everything either. That's the problem too. We have so much equipment that we can't fly anywhere. And also,
well, there's probably no fly list at this point.
I was about to say, I don't know if we can technically fly anywhere. Just
Dogman extremists. We're gonna go up to like, check in. They're gonna be like,
they're here.
I need a supervisor over here at the counter. It's these weird Dogman people. So, but Taylor, Mississippi is definitely within the realm of possibility. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what sort of like publicly accessible land is around there. I looked at Once Upon a Time, but we could do that. Obviously, a revisit to the LBL.
Oh, I got one.
What do you got?
Jesse's doing a great job too.
Hey, look at that. Thank you so much. So, but
I know I'm an afterthought to the great and wonderful Joe Doyle.
Yes. So, we definitely need to look into, it's weird. We've been kind of in a Dogman drought lately. I have not really gotten a lot of Dogman reports we've been weaned
off the teat of Dogman at this point.
Weaned off the Dogman teats. We're not really in the, within like the operational, area that we usually have where we can like do it justice at that point.
Yeah.
We try to like focus on the areas that we know that we can hit repeatedly and we don't spend all of our time traveling there and then we have no time on the ground. But
as much as we hate this heat that we're experiencing right now, we should really just go hit Wisconsin, bro. Let's Elkhorn it.
What's a drive for like that, man? So
my friend does it all the time. It's like, I think, 12 hours, something like that, something crazy.
Good Lord.
What is it?
14 hours and 18 minutes, 930,000 miles there, 1,000 miles.
I have a friend that does it on a regular basis.
Good night. I'm itching a lot. When we were out this Saturday.
You shouldn't tell the people that.
Well, they see me scratching, for God's sakes. We got eaten alive. It's like the mosquitoes and everything like that they've become immune to like any bug spray that you use at this point. So it's like crazy. We got back in and we were just
Joe's on here just
got that.
I'm seeing Dogman everywhere.
So, but we could do Taylor, Mississippi. LBL is definitely a doable. We keep doing these shows hoping like to throw out into the universe that we can start getting some good actionable Dogman like reports. But here's the other thing.
Do you think there might be a Dogman at the Sandals Resort?
We're looking for Dogman in this 4-star casino.
I heard he really likes to come around when people are having pina coladas.
So, this is a good one. Our buddy JD, whatever happened to the area with all the bamboo that you were having a lot of action at? I went live there briefly one day. That area is hard to navigate in warmer weather. We tried to do a live stream from there one night, and the frog and insect noise at night was so loud. Remember that? It was insane. It was like absolutely insane because there's a lot of water through there.
Yeah.
You know what? If you guys are interested in that, maybe we'll pop out and do. Is there somewhere through there that we could deploy the Starlink and do a live? JD's talking about the Bamboo Grove that we heard really
absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah, I got a place I can put the Starlink for sure.
We could deploy the Starlink and do a little stationary.
For sure. For sure.
It's not Dogman related, but let's.
I can. Yeah. I got you.
If you guys have some interest, we caught some crazy wood knocks approaching that bamboo. And it was so obvious, bamboo on bamboo. And then I had some jackball in the comments going, that's not what wood knocks sound like. I hear wood knocks on my property all the time. And I'm going, do you have an old growth bamboo grove on your property? No? Then maybe you should STFU, my friend. So, you know.
We're having a bamboo conversation
here, my man.
You can cedar your way out.
So.
God, that was actually pretty good.
That was actually the cedar your way out.
Yes, thank you.
Well, you've been saving up, man. Heck, so.
I've been in my office editing for months at this point. I have been just locked away, looking crazy. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be talking to people. I'm releasing the stress. I have turned in the documentary airing on Small Town Monsters YouTube channel on August the 10th. The monster on Morris Mountain, Bigfoot in the Uaris. In it, we capture some very, very insane vocalizations.
Multiple
vocalizations.
So
I need to show you people my promo.
Oh yeah, Miranda had asked.
Go through the chat.
Well, Miranda had asked if we'd ever hunt for skinwalkers. Now we are looking to get into more in the fall. A lot of Cherokee, because again, we're in the area with like the Cherokee and the Catawba. So they don't have things called skinwalkers. There's things called raven mockers that have a shape-shifting
sort of akin to
it. So, but most of those entities traditionally.
Now be careful. You're going to get your language policed.
Oh, good Lord. Most of them were active in the fall. So we're probably going to do some stuff. We meant to do it last year and we got sidetracked. So we'll probably do some things similar to that.
And if you guys know anything about anything, you know that July 5th is the first day of spooky season. Once we get past July 4th, Independence Day.
Dead in your hunt.
We are in spooky season officially. So we're actually working on our plans for all of spooky season and all the cool stuff we are putting together for that.
Dead in your hunt. What's up? There's going to be a Dogman in Irving, Texas, July 26th and 27th. What is that?
I don't know. There's a female Dogman head in my office thanks to
maybe that Dead in Yard Hunt made a female Dogman mask with a blue streak in it that you ought to wear on the show one night. You know what I'm saying? Just
stay
in character the whole show. All right, so
then they're really gonna want to see the Dogman.
Eddie asked you real quick, where did you get the crazy thermals around that time? The one with multiple targets. You talking about we got crazy thermals in the dark corner, if you're talking about Bigfoot, and
Laurel Creek.
And then we got obviously the one in the LBL, which was on the north end actually surprisingly up near the site that is attributed to the 82 massacre. Anyway, you're going to share your...
We got another $36 on the fundraiser.
That's crazy. We might actually have the director of that charity come on maybe and spend a few minutes with us.
Yeah, and I think we might do this yearly. We might raise money for the summer camp, but we'll start it earlier to where we can do it for the summer camp for all the sessions. They have multiple sessions, but this would help pay for pretty much all the sessions for the summer camp. So we're definitely thinking about doing this yearly. She wants to come on, and I'm sure she wants to thank you guys for everything, but she's a real sweet young lady. I'm going to show you guys the promo I did for Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival, our Bigfoot conference. And
we're not doing the festival.
Not doing the festival.
They asked us to do the festival, but that has like midget wrestling and stuff, which sounds great to me. You know what I'm saying?
Now I'm policing your language through.
Huh? But what? I'm just saying that was more of like a monster truck band, everybody drinks all day long type thing.
Kiss.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to deal with a really drunk crowd that's been watching stuff like that, and then you have to go out and talk to them about Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? So be throwing like rotten tomatoes at us. So
hot dogs at 9 a.m. That's our bag.
Yes, indeed. So
all right, let me put this up here. But we're gonna be at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference on July 26th. That's a Saturday. And we're super excited. We're going to be staying at the Wander Hotel. I know that if you guys want to book around there. I know that all the hotels are right by the convention center in Gatlinburg. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. We're going to be discussing the Southern Sasquatch.
Yeah, we're doing a Sasquatch presentation.
Some Sasquatch. All right. I want to show you guys this. This is my promo that I made. Go through the chat for me while we're doing this. I need you to see if we missed anything of importance. We didn't do a knife check. We'll do that after this. But please enjoy, all of you beautiful, lovely, fine people, the promo I made for Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference coming up. I'm Jesse Doyle with Hellbent Holler. Right now, we're out in the woods on a field investigation in an active Bigfoot hotspot. But on July 26th, we're going to be in Gatlinburg, Tennessee for the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. Joining us there will be Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Ken Gerhardt, Ronnie LeBlanc, and many, many more. Joe and I will be doing a presentation on the Southern Sasquatch. We're going to be showing some of our best evidence from the past few years, and yeah, it's going to get weird. Tickets start at only $30, and you can get them at SmokyMountainBigfootConference.com. I look forward to seeing everybody there, but until then, try to stay cool and stay out in the woods. I thought that was nice.
That's pretty damn impressive. I feel like
you.
an actual minor regional Bigfoot celebrity after like watching that. Wow,
Thank you.
know what I'm saying?
Thank
That's pretty
you.
impressive, man. Damn.
Yes.
So, all right. Good deal.
I think it
Boy,
looked
Jeff Meldrum's just going to be tickled pink to be on that stage with
Jeff
us.
Meldrum's just going to look so happy to be right there with us.
Right beside us, two weirdos. You know what I'm saying? So who are you guys? What are you really into? So glad you asked, Jeff. Pull up a chair.
You want to see my giant turd rock?
Oh, Lordy Christ. Duke Tucker. Remember 50 months. Thank you so much. Glad to see you all back on Mondays. Like the shirt, Joe. Yeah, I'm wearing my Boyd shirt. It's like my favorite movie.
We are going to rewatch The Void.
Yeah, we got to rewatch the
we
Boyd.
did
Thank
not-
you for that.
We got multiple people asking for knife checks. That's knife check time.
I had to
Knife
put mine
check.
down 'cause it was so damn. Go do yours.
Let's do it. Let's do it together.
All right.
We've done these before,
We have Cold Steel Espadas.
but these are really special knives to us.
Yeah. Mine is like the XL, and it's like literally
It's
like
the exact same knife, but
it is. Jesus,
way different
I can't
sizes.
even get it in the damn screen here.
You're
Lord
doing great.
almighty. You can actually carry this. I actually do carry this. I'm a wild man.
This was a knife Joe got me. When did you get me this? We first started dating?
First started dating in New Orleans.
Many, many years ago.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago. It's a
So-
beautiful knife, isn't it?
But yeah, you
Lovely.
can actually carry that in your pocket. It's like crazy. It's actually surprisingly
Cold
comfortable to
steel
carry.
size.
But I don't ever really carry it because what if I got pulled over for like a brake tag, like, like an expired like license plate, or like my brake light went out, and then they're like going, do you have any like weapons in the car? And I go, oh, just this giant like 7-inch folding knife,
Spanish
sir.
sword.
Yeah, officer.
Jump out and say, you killed my father.
I'm completely normal, and you can just let me proceed on my way, sir.
Normal human man.
So,
Oh, Lord.
all right, guys, we're gonna wrap it
Ooh.
up in a minute. What do you got?
Surviving the Strange says, get him to sign The Rock. The Rock is going to be its own character. I've already decided. Unless the Rock joke ends before then. But if you guys keep the Rock joke going till the 26th, then the
Mhm.
Rock is coming. So it's up to you people to bring the Rock to your town. Oh, God.
All right.
Oh, my God. $50 if a pic of Jeff Meldrum touching the Rock can be obtained.
Jeff Meldrum probably tried to steal your rock.
I'm going to have to put a chain around the Rock. Have guards around the Rock.
I'm gonna have it in a briefcase, like the Blues Brothers, handcuffed to my arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like busting out of it.
It's because the damn thing's the size of
It's
like
a
a bowling
giant
ball.
rock.
So yeah. All right, we are wrapping it up.
Oh my God.
If you guys want to, if there's some interest in us checking out that bamboo grove again, we could probably make that happen live.
Your tech wizard can make it happen.
Yeah,
Your little tech wizard can
little
make
tech
it
wizard can make it happen.
happen. So,
we could go check that out again. Now we got bamboo knocks as we approached, and then when we got in there, we thought we saw something moving through the bamboo very quickly, but it's hard to tell because it's hard to move through there, man. It's claustrophobic.
And you can't move through there quickly at all because it's like it's like a bamboo prison, and they're so thick and you can't move them aside. So you just run into these blocks and you can't get through them. It's one of the most terrifying little spots we've ever been.
It's not a comfortable spot.
So claustrophobic.
So,
and you can't see very far. It's crazy. It's crazy because it's so dense the way the bamboo is.
But we might do that. We're getting back into the swing of things now that the Small Town Monsters doc is done. And I think you guys are really going to.
I'm not taking a backpack in there. You know what I'll do? We're going to go super light, no backpack, because you can't turn around in a backpack in there. You end up trapped.
It's claustrophobic in there.
Can you imagine running a deer in there or something? What would happen?
Well, I mean, I think that if we've gotten so many like Bigfoot reports from that area. Or you know what?
Bamboo Live.
Are they
Miranda? Bamboo Live, sign me up.
Are they Bigfoot reports? Because most people, we've had one guy see a stereotypical Bigfoot. The rest of the people just report tall, kind of like elusive, dark, aggressive figures. And we've caught some crazy canine audio like that in there before. What are you laughing at? So
I was just laughing at MK sowing seeds here. Everyone comment on the Smoky Mountain Post how excited everyone is about the Rock making an appearance. This is why nobody likes us in the field. This is why nobody likes us.
They're not serious.
The Bigfoot elite have rejected us.
Indeed. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up.
Did you see they brought that turd rock?
Let's wrap it up.
Space turd. All right. I'm starving.
We're going to go eat. Guys, thank you guys for joining us again tonight. We have missed you all. We are back. We're back, baby. We're back. Jessie has been released from her film editing prison. I think you guys are going to like the doc. The doc's.
It's tight, boy. It's tight. It's a thriller.
We probably had about 50 hours of footage of good footage that you had to parse through and get it down.
To cut down to 1 hour and 42 minutes.
There's no fact. Here's the deal.
To tell a story.
You watch a lot of Bigfoot documentaries, and there's a lot of B-roll and a lot of settled in the late 1700s.
Self-reflection.
This area, none of that at all.
None of that.
Push some witness reports to put us on the case, and then field investigations.
And then just 2 hours of MK.
I've just uncomfortable close-ups. So anyway,
sweating.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for
tolerating us.
Thank everybody who has donated through super chats and joined the memberships.
Thank you for everybody who supported Bigfooters for Bethesda. We got them over $5,000, y'all. Y'all the real MVPs. We really did it. It's awesome. We're going to end that tonight. And as soon as we end that, hopefully that gets right over to them ASAP. The director is going to email me and let me know when the funds are dispersed. And I think she might come on the show in the next couple weeks. But yeah, thank you guys so much for making Bigfooters for Bethesda a reality. That was really, in the midst of all this crazy stuff with this, that was the most important thing that we could have done. Yeah. So
very good.
Yeah.
So
thank you. Very good.
All righty. We're
all right, guys.
Wrapping it up, folks.
August 10th, Small Town Monsters. Monster on Morse Mountain, Bigfoot of Uwharrie documentary drops. And also, if you guys aren't already coming to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference, get your tickets at SmokyMountainBigfootConference.com. Tickets start at $30. Join us there. Possibly see The Rock. Not The Rock, but The Rock, second Rock. Come hang out with us and have a good time in Gatlinburg, 10RC. All right, guys. We love you. Y'all great. Y'all best. Take care of yourselves.
Good night.
And take care of each other. Good night.